where do you think we headed to next to try out food and of course to give my expert opinion? We went to the Embazzy. That's right, not the embassy, the Embazzy. Don't ask me why they call it the Embazzy. Nowhere did I find an explanation for it, but it's the latest hotspot in town. So it's something in between like a coffee shop cum cafe, and then when you walk in there you get a completely different picture, but I'll talk about that later. So the Embazzy is a place actually we wanted to go to before, and we went there once and the place is full up. I mean, it's that popular, so we had to go somewhere else. So today being a weekday, we decided to make a reservation at the Embazzy, and we headed over there to see what they have on offer and why it's so popular and why everyone's flocking there to see what it's all about. So we also went and we found some very interesting things. So our location was the Embazzy down Flower Road. That's where we headed to next. Where is this Embazzy located? Well, what do you know? It's down Flower Road in Colombo 7. So now this seems to be a great marketing factor for a lot of people. And of course, you know, we suffer from this real elitist, classist hangover where an old cinnamon garden has become the place to live in Colombo. So anything in Colombo 7, if you're selling even compost, becomes far more posh than say a compost from Malabar. So similarly, anything that's sold in Colombo 7, including coffee, would be greater than anywhere else. Place is huge. I mean, they don't have a lot of parking out there, but it's a massive place. So location-wise, it's a great location. It looks good. It's in Colombo 7 for those looking for that kind of garbage. And yeah, it's pretty central, easily accessible. So good choice of place. So the logo of Embazzy actually is really not much of a logo. It's more like typography. So it's a font and it says the Embazzy. And I think it says Flower Road or some nonsense under the but in terms of artwork wise, I mean, there's really nothing to talk about. It's very clear, it's clean. I mean, it's very modernist and sort of Zenish in its kind of typography. It's not a cursive font. It's very straightforward. It's without any serifs, I think. So yeah, so it's pretty clean, neat, straight to the point. Nothing to really talk about. So it's okay. It's clear. I actually like it because it kind of goes with the concept of the place, because it's a big white house, maybe like the Embazzy. Who knows? Anyway, Embazzy. So it's just straightforward, in your face, easy to read, nice, clean Zen logo. So good. I like it. Nice. So ambience wise, actually the Embazzy for me is like a bit of a, you really don't know what it is. Like I said, it's a cafe coffee shop. I mean, that's what the menu indicates. When you walk in, it's like a house, like a big massive house. Maybe it was an embassy before, who knows. It has a big staircase in the middle as you walk in, and then the counters on the right, and massive couches everywhere, and then like little chairs. So ambience wise, it's you don't really get like a nice warm feeling in there. Lighting is also like very kind of basic. It doesn't create like warmth inside. It's just really okay to come and sit down and maybe chill. I would say it has an ambience of an embassy. Maybe that's what they're aiming at. There's a massive ship in the middle of the thing in the corner. I mean, it's beautiful, but it's massive. It's a ship. I don't know what the connection is. And the staircase is actually labeled with like all kinds of things like Tibet, Siripade, whatever, which is pretty funky. So they have like a PlayStation thingy upstairs. But in terms of ambience, I don't know how I felt really there. I don't know whether it was more warm. I didn't feel warm and cozy. It was more like, okay, a kind of matter of fact in a sense. It's okay as long as you're with a bunch of people. I mean, you can forget the ambience of the place. It doesn't really create anything much. Oh, of course, they had really funky lights that reminded me of chemical compounds broken down. You know those diagrams like an octagon with a line connecting out and then lights. And that's kind of what the decor was, which is a bit strange. it was okay. Ambience is nothing to really sing songs about. It's fine. So average, I would say. I don't know. It's like lost identities. Maybe with the name itself, Embazzy, and you don't know where you belong. So yeah, it's a so-so ambience. Menu-wise, actually, so when we sat down, somebody handed us 2 menus. So one was, it is like a table mat kind of thing, so printed on both sides. The general menu was quite extensive. So, see, this is why I call it a cafe cum coffee shop, because it had all that in there. So here it had juices, healthy juices, coffee, hot chocolate, milkshakes, food, mains, entrees, appetizers. That long thing had that they gave me the menu. Half stuff were not available on it. Desserts wise, and that desserts thing also was on the other side. There were more like coffee shop desserts like pavlova and churros, brownies. They also had a dessert display which is not on the frigging menu, and therefore I couldn't order anything from it, which had like an array of cakes, cheesecakes, and 3-layered chocolate mousse. So it's an interesting menu, except for that damn thing they shouldn't be promoting to me because half the stuff were not available on it. So that should be just chucked out the window, and they should just stick to that basic menu of theirs, but quite a decent one. So I decided to start with something healthy, because one must be healthy, you know. I just wanted to try out a healthy juice. They didn't have cocktails, so obviously there's no alcohol here. So I ordered a healthy juice, one of the healthy juices, called a citrus cues. Citrus cues, I don't know what it's queuing in, but it was basically cucumber, mint and lemon or lime. So the drink was actually like served in a mason jar with like a straw, and it had like frothed up on top. And so when I first sipped up, it was nice, and then suddenly, my God, I was assaulted by the mint. I think that damn thing was floating on top and then just reached the straw from somewhere. So it was like, ugh, okay. So the mint was a bit strong and slightly soury. It wasn't bad, but I felt the balance of the flavors were not really right. I don't know, maybe they should have increased the lemon, balanced it with the cucumber and the mint. But I think somewhere down the line, something had gone slightly, So it wasn't the greatest of juices. Like, I didn't feel like really nice drinking it. I was like bracing myself for more mint assaults, but luckily I didn't get any. But it was okay. It was an okay drink. I mean, after all, we drink a lot of garbage in the name of health, right? And when I said garbage, in the sense, things that are not necessarily tasty. So in that sense, I mean, if you want to convince yourself, pinch your nose and drink it down, it's fine. I mean, it wasn't that bad. I'm just exaggerating. But yeah, it could definitely improve. So it was decent. I think that's the word. A decent, healthy juice. As an entree, I decided to try out the Kochi cheese toast. So basically, it was cheese toast with Kochi miris in it. I think there was some other green looking thing in there. I think maybe some kind of bell pepper. So, I mean, when you bit into it, it was on white bread. The Kochi was quite strong, so it was like, and you're like, okay. But yeah, I mean, I should have known better. It's Kochi, no? It's not like miris, like normal miris. So yeah, it was quite sharp and quite hot, but nice. I just wish they toasted the bread a bit more. It felt like, you know, that morning, like, you know, toast where you can't be bothered and you toast it for like only 20 seconds instead of like 30 or 40 seconds. So it didn't really give the nice crispiness of a toast. It was like a little bit like penda, like a little peony toast. So yeah, I think that toast needed a bit more oomph in it, definitely. So overall it was okay, it tasted okay, but something was missing. I think that toastedness, and maybe the Kochi was a little too sharp, so that the cheese really didn't come out. So yeah, I think it was decent. I mean, if you are a person who likes like a fiery kochi all the time, you just want fire in your mouth, this is a good choice. I wanted a soup. I wanted the crab bisque, but they didn't have it. That stupid thing that they gave me didn't have half the things I wanted. So that's when I decided to order another entree, because I'm greedy like that. So I got a mushroom arancini, which is basically a risotto ball, crumb fried, and it had lovely like mozzarella cheese in it, and it was served with wasabi mayo. This is a really lovely starter actually, because the crumb fried risotto was nice and crisp. It wasn't soggy inside, the cheese was just right, it was like nice and stretching out. Don't think of other things, it was stretching, the cheese was stretching out. And the wasabi mayo was on point, because it had the right balance of that, you know, that wasabi zing where you get like just right and mellowed by the mayonnaise. So it was, I think, a lovely balance, and it complemented the risotto arancini really well. So I must say that's a super starter. The next meal we ordered on the recommendation of the guy serving there was a kottu. I know, you're going to think, no, this is not pilaus, this is the Embazzy. So it's posh kottu. Basically, so we decided to try a mutton kottu because, I mean, you try the chicken and the other stuff all the time, right? So mutton kottu, and I said, yeah, with cheese, no problem. So when the kottu came, it came like in a nice little bowl, like, you know, like bowled down. And the mutton flavor was really nice. The mutton was tender. I think they put in like a mutton curry, so that curry flavor really came in through the kottu, and it was nice and moist, very tasty. But try as I might, dear God, I could not find the cheese. I have no idea where that frigging cheese went, and I'm like, where's the cheese? And I was digging it, and then finally towards the middle of the dish, I think something like elastic popped out, and I was like, the cheese. So I think the cheese was lost somewhere in that kottu. Lost cheese of mutton kottu. So anyway, it was a good kottu, I must say. Tasty, and the mutton was really nice and succulent, soft, nice flavor, really brought it out. But yeah, the cheese. I just wish that cheese was found. Better than one little single sorry stretch strip in the middle. So yeah, next time you order a mutton kottu, make sure they put a decent amount of cheese. But otherwise, good option. Mains. So there was a massive choice there, and I decided to go with what I really wanted to try. So there was a seafood puttanesca, which is basically a spaghetti-based dish, and it's with olives and tomato-based sauce. Actually, this is quite lovely because it came with a very generous portion of seafood. So they had fish, prawns, calamari, good old cuttlefish, and it had clams. Now this is what really excited me, because I love clams. See, I buy fresh clams in Sri Lanka for like a ridiculous amount, like 250 rupees a kilo or something, as in ridiculously cheap. And anyone who's made clams will tell you that the clam broth is brilliant in any kind of pasta, especially spaghetti, because it really lends its flavor to the pasta. And when you eat, like, I mean, you can just have you know, clams boiled with spaghetti and like a bit of butter and white wine, and it's just brilliant. So I'm really glad they put clams in here, but unfortunately with clams is, see, the shell is big, but his meat is little. Now don't take it wrong, I know exactly what you're thinking, but in this instance, see, the poor clam can't help it. I mean, his shell protects him. So I couldn't find the clam flesh in there, because all the, I mean, chopped garlic and the tomato and all the herbs had got in there, and I couldn't find the clam flesh. Ayyo, I was so disappointed because I love clams. So I kind of dug around in a few fellows, and hopefully I ate it without even knowing it. It was really nice, a really good dish, and I'm really glad I had it, and I'm glad they put clams in there. I'm so happy. I hope they are fresh clams and not some imported shit. But yeah, overall the puttanesca was quite a lovely dish, so I'm very glad I had it. Good choice. dessert. One of the best parts of any meal. So like I said, their desserts are a bit of a hodgepodge between typical cafe type desserts and like proper desserts. So like I said, the usual suspects, the brownies and chocolate sundaes and ice cream sundaes and banana fritters, pavlova, churros. So I asked what's better, the pavlova or the churros. I actually wanted a fancy dessert of that fancy other menu. That thing was not available. Like I said, they should just chuck that menu. Anyway, so he recommended a churros. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll try a churros. I mean, I like churros, well-made churros. So anyhow, these churros came with 2 little side dishes of berry compote and chocolate sauce. And the churros were nice and doughy, fluffy in a sense, sprinkled with cinnamon and sugar powder. And it tasted nice, so when you bite in. For me though, see, churros are slightly chewy. Like if you usually take a churro, it's very thin and long with the ridges on it, and it's deep fried to an extent where it's kind of chewy. It doesn't just break off. This for me was more donutish, like actually not donutish, it was like more doughy. For some reason, it was breaking. Sort of like an apple pie covering, you know what I mean? Like where it breaks off the McDonald's apple pie. That's what I was reminded of, how random. Anyway, it wasn't the doughy, the chewy churros that I am usually used to. So not really the perfect churros, but not a bad dessert either. So overall, okay. For my final tada, I decided to have a special called an almonchino. So I was very curious, what the heck is this almonchino? And that guy was sweet enough to explain. He said, basically it's a hot coffee where they use almond and cinnamon syrup in it. So I love almond. I mean, I love amaretto and all these things. Oh, they're so good. So I said, yes, please get me this almonchino at the end. So they served in a kind of like a tall coffee glass with a tiny little cookie on the side. I ignore the cookie. And I decided to have the almond coffee. I stirred it nicely and it was actually quite nice because see, I think they put just the right amount of syrup, well balanced. So the almond and the cinnamon, though slightly sweet, complemented the coffee really well, and it was really nice and warm to drink. I was really quite pleased and not at all bad for them. Better than pumping, you know, endless saccharin into a coffee cup. So this is a good finish off. So I'm really glad I had it, and it was really a nice cup of coffee. And I enjoyed it very much. So I highly recommend it. Nice, good choice. Service-wise, okay, so this is a rather interesting coffee shop. It has a whole notion of self-service. So they come and give you the menu at your seat, but you get up and go with it and place your order at the counter, which is a bit silly, no? You should just say, come to the counter, look at the menu, place your order, and then go away. And then you pay then and there. So it's a bit weird. And then over a period of time, these guys come and serve all your stuff. The only thing is, I think they were a little understaffed when we were there because they were like just 2 guys serving, and there were quite a few people in there. And we had to like kind of wave down people because we got our mains and our starters, and then when we wanted our dessert and our coffee, tada, where are you? No one's around. So I think they need to improve on their service a bit, or maybe they were just understaffed because they were quite okay. But you have to like keep waving your hands and wandering around and ask, where's my food, what's going on? So I think they need to be a little bit more organized, or maybe it was just a slow day today. But overall service was so-so. And that stupid menu didn't have half the stuff, man. Just chuck it out the window. Price-wise, I must say the Embazzy is absolute value for money. We paid quite a decent amount and we ordered quite a lot of food. And like I said, this is more a cafe, it's not just coffee. And I mean, if you eat at any of the big coffee shops in Colombo, you would be busting that amount of money on just about half the items we ate. So I would say it's absolute value for money, absolute, totally worth it. And the prices were on point. I must say, it's really, it's strange, right? The smaller places are value for money with tasty food. I mean, their food was good, right? And the more expensive places is a lot of and you're paying for a lot of air and branding and marketing. What gives? Anyway, but I must say the Embazzy pricing was totally great. That explains why so many people go there. You don't get broke eating there. So anyway, overall, I mean, superb. Overall, the Embazzy, with its dodgy-ass name and its confused interior, food menu, decor, whatever, is a nice place to go to. The food was good. I must say, overall, the food was good. Absolute value for money. I mean, I'm not expecting 5-star service here. And I think it's totally worth what you pay. Forget the hype about the place. I mean, overall, it was really good. And I would say, I would definitely even want to try out the other stuff on the menu. So, and with that vast menu they have, definitely I won't get bored even if I went there like every week. So I would totally recommend everyone check out the Embazzy. I am going next to Agrabah on a deep dark night. Never mind, forget it. You want to find out where I'm heading to next? It's out of Sri Lanka. That's right, you have no clue. So join me as I take a carpet ride into another Arabian night. Do stay tuned.